Welcome to this episode of the Growth Cast. It is me, Jackson Campbell, joined with Dallas Pruitt for another extended cut episode. Dallas, how you doing this morning, my man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm really excited for our book of the month this month. It's one of my favorite books by my current favorite author. So I'm very excited to dive in to that. Dallas just flashed it, but we're not going to say it real quick. So if you're on YouTube watching, you already saw, but we're not going to say what it is yet. We're gonna dangle the carrot out in front of you a little bit. But before we dive into today's episode, just a quick rundown for those of you that are new. My name's Jackson Campbell. This is Dallas Pruitt. You are here on the Growth Cast, and we are very, very grateful to have you here with us. Let me give you a quick rundown of the Growth Cast. Monday through Thursday, we've got daily drip episodes by Dallas Pruitt, where he drops a 3 to 5 minute long episode, mindset principle to help you get your day going on the right foot. On Fridays, we get the opportunity to hear from the powerful and influential Tyler Devereaux, where I get to sit down and interview him on mindset principles, on real estate principles. Often on those episodes as well, Tyler will interview high-level guests as well as students that have been through the Multifamily Mindset Network and mentorship. And then on Saturday, what you're listening to right now is the extended cut with myself and Dallas Pruitt, where we pick a book of the month and then dive in on the principles taught within that book of the month for those extended cut episodes through that month. The book for the month of April, I'll let Dallas introduce it. Dallas, go ahead. What's our book going to be for the month of April?
I get the intro.
Yes.
Yeah. This book of the month is The Obstacle is the Way. And it is by far, one of my favorite books of all time. In fact, Ryan Holiday is probably one of my favorite authors of all time. I really enjoy his take and approach in terms of teaching stoicism and stoic principles, timeless wisdom that is very applicable our day and age. He has a slew of books that he's written over the course of the past few years. We'll be covering, I'm sure, a number of them as we continue the progression of the growth cast throughout the years. We just happen to be landing on The Obstacle is the Way this time, which again I would argue is number one of his books in my opinion.
New York Times bestseller. New York Times bestseller.
He's got multiple New York Times bestsellers.
Yep.
But this one is one that was adopted by many industries, many professional athletes. It's just a book that transcends any industry and any playing field. That's why I love it so much. The subtitle is The Timeless Art of Turning Trials into Triumph. And it really is a blueprint of how to think regarding obstacles, trials, setbacks, difficulty in life, which we all face. He's got a series of other books. Courage is Calling is one that I'm reading right now. Discipline is Destiny is another that you could add to your list. Stillness is the Key. Ego is the Enemy. The Lives of the Stoics. So many good books. But again, this one right here, bam, I would say, at the very top of my list of Ryan Holiday's books. You can find Ryan Holiday at the Daily Stoic podcast. He has a Daily Stoic newsletter that I'm a part of. And he has tons of articles and resources. The guy is a mass producer of amazing written word, which is, again, a thing that I geek out on as an aspiring author and just intellectual person, I guess, if you will. I love his approach. Again, he doesn't sugarcoat stuff. He doesn't glorify, goals and this and that. It is very like, hey, life's tough. Adopt the right perspective. Philosophy matters. The way you think matters. And absolute truths, And so I just couldn't recommend him more than what I am right now. But I'm excited to dive in this month with The Obstacle is the Way.
Likewise. And I couldn't agree with you more on those things. The way that he presents different perspectives on things is massive, and it's influential, and it's impactful. He's a fantastic writer, and I'm excited to dive into these words and dissect them. Right, Dallas, before we really dive into the book, though, Obstacle is the Way it's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's a pretty self-explanatory title, meaning if you follow those obstacles, right, turning trials into triumphs, if you run into those obstacles, that's actually where the joy and the triumph is found, right? Dallas, we're going to break down the key principles within this book. But before we do as we read it, but before we really dive into that, Dal, I want to just kind of hear from you. So we'll kind of put Ryan Holiday's teachings maybe on the side here for a minute. And just maybe you and I can riff and chat about why choosing difficult is actually good and beneficial for our growth path.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, the things that the obstacle is the way covers, the principles within the chapters, I like to say they're things that are easy to understand, like even the title itself, right? The obstacle is the way. By viewing other people's experiences, right, and referencing history, it's easy to understand that the obstacle is the way, right? And we could probably unpack that even further, but for time's sake, I'm not going to go any further there. It's really hard to do, right? These are things that are really easy to understand, but it is so hard to do. And one of those things, which is a rule that I've kind of drafted up for myself, I've adopted this rule it's been in adoption for a long time, and that is to choose hard on purpose. And the reason I choose hard on purpose is because there are plenty of hard things that I won't be choosing on purpose that will happen in my life. And so I don't know how to put it any simpler than that you know, the people who have family members that have died in tragic accidents. You know, my aunt, I've talked about her before, you know, being diagnosed with ALS and watching her pass. You know, cancer diagnosis, horrible acts that happen in society, right, that we all see, and being a victim of one of those tragic things, right? Those people didn't choose those scenarios. Those things happened. The reality is those things happened. Those things chose them. And I don't want to be unprepared for the day that something chooses me, right? So if I can thus willingly choose to dive into some hard situations, this is one of the reasons why I do that, is because it better prepares me mentally, physically, spiritually, you know, all of it, for when life throws me something super hard that I wasn't planning for and didn't really want, right? Nobody wants a cancer diagnosis. Nobody wants a death in the family. Nobody wants their family members to be a part of a tragic accident. Nobody wants to lose all their money in a recession. Nobody wants to have any of those experiences, but they happen. The reality is they happen. And I don't want to be naive to the fact that I'm a person just like everybody else who could get caught in the crosshairs of life, you know, choosing me for something there that's outside of my control. And so, yeah, I choose hard on purpose. Like right now, I'm choosing to run a marathon. I've never ran one before. I have short legs. I do not have a runner's build. I weigh almost 200 pounds and I'm thick.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for me to wake up and like want to run. It's hard for me to stay below 190 pounds and be lighter so it feels better on my knees and everything else. But I don't run because I love running. I don't love running. I'll be honest. I don't love running.
Yeah.
I love what running does for me. I love what that hard thing does for me in terms of helping me have and create more triumphs in my life from the lessons and the fortitude and everything else that I gather from putting myself willingly into a situation like that. I love everything that happens as a result of choosing to do that thing.
Yeah. It's so true, man. Life is going to smack you in your mouth. It's going to punch you in your teeth. It's going to body slam you. Dude, there's going to be things that happen in life that just absolutely wreck you and knock you to your knees that are out of your control. We're all going to lose loved ones. At some point, unfortunately, for most of us, our parents are going to pass away. It's going to be a very rough thing for a lot of people. Like you're saying, dude, there's all these really, really rough things that happen in our life. But if we can voluntarily, at times, choose to do the difficult things, it helps us create this callous, and not necessarily a callous, because then that's kind of giving the illusion that we don't feel those
Harden
things,
ourselves.
right? But it kind of prepares you and preps you for when these do not unnecessary, but things you couldn't see come into your life and really disrupt you. You have this innate ability to be able to attack these difficulties because you've chosen these difficult things along the way. It's going to create that, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but it's going to almost create that inside of you. It's like that mindset, that framework, that frame of mind that, oh, this is a difficult thing. I know what to do in these situations. It's training it's training yourself, honestly.
Maybe the word you're looking for is identity, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's create the identity of a person who knows how to navigate hard situations, right? Well, it's just like anything else. If you want to become a person who their identity is they know how to do hard things and get through hard things, well, you don't just randomly get chosen for a hard thing and then decide that you're a person that knows how to do that.
Right.
That's just like school for anything else. You got to go to school. You've got to go you've got to learn through experience. And so if you sit around and you wait for that experience to happen and then try to figure it out when you're thrown in there, well, you're not voluntarily doing that, right? Now you're just reacting.
Right.
Now you're just reacting. And when you're in the thick of the situation, that's the wrong time to figure it out. The right time to figure it out, right, is through purposeful practice. Purposeful practice is the place to go figure that out. And practice doesn't make perfect. Practice creates improvement. That's what practice does. And so if you go into hard situations willingly, regularly, incrementally, build up to something bigger, practice is what creates improvement. And so when you get into that situation when the curveball is thrown and you get caught in the crosshairs with something that was outside of your control, well, now that practice will pay off because you will show improvement in that situation. Will you be perfect? No, you're not going to be perfect. And I think that's an important part to all of this is you're never going to be perfect, ever. You're never going to be completely bulletproof.
Yep.
You just won't. But you will get better. You will get better. You will get stronger, right? But that comes by way of practice, just like any other skill.
So choosing, searching out those difficult things and getting used, like conditioning yourself to those situations.
Bingo.
That's what it is.
Yep.
That's what I was looking for. You condition yourself to those situations, so when they do pop up unexpectedly, you know how to attack them or address them or do whatever you need to do to get through them. So good. So good. Dallas, thank you for that, man. Thank you. I think that's a great way to kick off this book is to really understand why choosing difficult is good for us and why choosing
Can I point something out real quick
away.
before you even move on? I think that a good analogy or just like a good representation is sometimes we create detachment up from this principle, right? By looking at other people do it and we're like, wow, we're just so amazed.
Yeah.
Right? We don't attach to it. We detach from it. So take the Navy SEALs or any military personnel, for example. I have a cousin, frickin' bless his soul. So grateful for him. He's serving our country. He just enlisted in the Army, went through basic training, and he was sharing stories about the shit they went through, the ruck that they did, like the way he was treated, the trainings, all of it, right? Well, it's all done on purpose, and it's pure hell. It's pure hell. Well, they go through pure hell because guess what? They're preparing to literally go through pure hell. Mm-hmm. And nothing will prepare them fully for what that getting caught in that crosshair of war creates, right? But they train on purpose. These are regular civilians that went in there intentionally on purpose to be trained properly so that they could see improvement day by day as they continued to attack the front wherever they were placed. But we detach from that. We watch documentaries. We watch a movie.
And we're amazed by it.
And we are amazed. It's unbelievable. We use the word unbelievable. No, it's actually it's actually completely believable if you just break it down to how, right, they became that way. They didn't wake up that way.
No.
That's important. That's growth mindset 101. They did not wake up that way. They became that way through practice, purposeful practice. Mm-hmm. And so my invite, I guess, before you move on, Jax, is just don't stop yourself from detaching from something like that when you experience someone else doing something unbelievably strong or amazing in terms of, right, plowing through obstacles to get to, a goal or whatever. So or being able to recover from a tragic act. You don't know until you're there, right? You don't know until you're forced to be there. But guess what? You can actually prepare yourself for that. You don't have to wait around. You can be purposeful and intentional through your preparation, through the things that you choose to do.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Dallas, thank you so much for those examples and those teachings, man. So valuable, especially as we dive into this book to get our frame of mind right, to get our mindset right, moving into this on why those things are important. As we move through this book of the month this month, just kind of want to preface everybody and give everybody a kind of a little bit of prep. So as we move into these episodes this month, we wanted to break them down from principles within the book. So over our next 3 extended cuts, we're gonna go over the following. We're gonna talk about perception, we're gonna talk about action, and we're gonna talk about will. Those are the three of the main principles that are taught in this book, Obstacle is the Way. So we're going to break those down. What do they mean and how do they correlate with choosing difficult and choosing the obstacles? So if you want to prepare for those episodes and kind of get the most out of those, know that that's what we'll be talking about our next 3 episodes. Again, perception, action, and will. We'll break those down. But Dallas, thank you so much for your wisdom and your knowledge today, my man. I'm super excited to dive into this book with you. We've read it before, and I know we've read it along the same timelines together before, but I don't think we ever discussed it. So I'm excited to jump on these episodes with you and discuss these teachings and discuss this reading. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support. Tune back in Monday for Daily Drip with Dallas, and Friday, Monday through Thursday, Daily Drip with Dallas. Friday, Aloha Friday with Tyler Devereaux and myself, and then Extended Cut next week where we'll be diving into more of these principles. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Please don't forget to leave us a rating and review if you haven't yet. We're very grateful for y'all. Have a great rest of your day, night, evening, weekend, wherever you are. Take care, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.